Good morning. This is our introduction to Chapter 10, Section 1. This would be the last chapter for just AP. We have to continue on and do all the other material for the CSI. So I will put that out there for the other students who are working on the CSI stuff, and we can go from there. Okay, so comparing two proportions, we're basically going to have proportion 1 and we're going to subtract it from proportion 2. P hat minus P1, P hat 1 minus P hat 2. What we're going to be working with is looking at the two and subtracting them. We will have they'll tell us what we're looking at and we can go from there. So everything's going to be given to us. So first thing we need to know is we need to know what the shape and center and spread of our sampling distribution. Okay? All right, so let's start with shape. So shape has to meet this criteria. So this should look very familiar to us. Right? N1 minus P1, it has to be greater than or equal to 10. N1 times 1 minus P1 has to be greater than or equal to 10 as well. And N2, P2 has to be greater than or equal to 10. And N2, 1 minus P2 has to be greater than or equal to 10 as well. Okay? Now, if both those conditions are not met, then we can't continue on. Okay? So once these are met, this tells us that it is approximately normal, which then allows us to do our tests. Okay? Next we have is the center. Okay? The center is the mean of the sampling data let's go distribution. So we're looking at P1 minus P2 so basically the center is going to be whatever we're going to find the mean for P1 minus P2, and we'll be using our one sampling, actually we'll be doing two sampling distributions. Okay, so there's going to be some new stuff on the calculator, which is awesome. All right, then we have our spread. Okay, and this is the standard deviation of the sampling distribution, and that is P1 1 minus P1 over N1 plus P2, 1 minus P2 over N2, and of course it's in a square root. So let's scoot that up so that we can have it. And then of course our 10% condition still holds. meaning that we have to have that 10% condition met, or we can't have the we can't do the test. Okay. All right. So we're going to work on an example next. It is called American Cars. And I'm going to pause it real quick, write it down for us, so you don't have to sit there and watch me do it. Okay, so our example is American Cars. It is Nathan and Kyle both work for the Department of Motor Vehicles, but in different states. In Nathan's state, 80% of the registered cars are made by American manufacturers. In Kyle's state, 60% of the registered cars are made by American manufacturers. Nathan selects a random sample of 100 cars in his state, and Kyle selects 70 cars in his state. Let p hat of n minus p hat of k be the difference in the sample proportion of cars made by American manufacturers. All right, so our questions are let's see, we got to get rid of this here. What is the shape of the sampling distribution of p hat n minus p hat k? That's A. B, find the mean of the sampling distribution. And C, find the standard deviation of the sampling distribution. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do A first, obviously. So what we're going to do is we need to do our N1, P1 has to be greater than or equal to 10. We have to do N1, 1 minus P1 has to be greater than or equal to 10. And we have to do N2, and P2 has to be greater than or equal to 10. And N2 and 1 minus P2 also have to be greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so Nathan is our N1. So we're going to come up to here. He selected 100 cars. His proportion of American cars was an 80%. So 100 times 0.80 is, of course, 80. So that one is true. So then over here it's going to be 100 and 0.20 because 1 minus 80 is 20%. And then we're going to have 20 cars. So then that tells us that Nathan is good to go. All right. So then when we come down here to do Kyle, Kyle has 70 cars, and his percentage was 60%. So when we do 70 times 0.60, we get 42, and that of course is bigger than 10. Come over to here, and then we do 70, and then we do 1 minus 0.60, which is 40. 70 times by 0.40 is 28, which is greater than or equal to 10. So therefore, what's the shape? And this is the thing that we got to remember to do, is the shape is approximately normal. Okay? Because that made all the criteria that it is approximately normal. Okay? All right, now let's go to our part B, which says we need to find the mean. Okay? So what we're going to do is we take P1 minus P2, and so for us P1 was 80% minus our other guy, which was 60%. So our mean is 0.20. Now remember, that's the difference of everything we had. So if we had the list of cars, we would be taking Nathan's list in one and Kyle's list in the other list. We would be subtracting them and then averaging them all out, and the difference between them would be 0.20. So that's the mean. Okay. And then C, let's do C. C was find the standard deviation. So the standard deviation is going to be P1, 1 minus P1 over N1 plus P2, 1 minus P2 over N2, and then we're going to take the square root of that. Okay, so then P1 was, of course, our 80%, and then this was 20%, and this was divided by 100, plus P2, which was, of course, 60, and this was 40, and this one was 70. All right, so I put it in my calculator, and I got a standard deviation of 0.709. Now, what we could do with that is we could, how much time do I got? I got 10 minutes. So there's our mean, right? And then I'll just kind of eyeball it. That's horrible. So then we, of course, this would be 0.27, this would be 0.34 and 0.41, and then going down it would be 0.13, 0.06, and negative 0.01. All right, and then of course we'd make our confidence intervals and that type of thing, which we get to do later on. So let me scoot that up for you. So that is our examples. Okay, so I already know you guys have this, but I'll put it up there anyway. So the first homework assignment is going to be 2 problems, page 629, numbers 2 and 4. Okay, call me if you have questions, or I guess email me.